Hey guys, I'm going to film the rest of the answers for today's work. We have the following. We have x squared plus 6x plus 5. Okay? And per our notes, we're going to put the first number in here, and we're going to put the last number down here. And as I talked about, I'm going to redo this a little bit based on the notes from this handout because I think it did a better job from what I saw before. So I want to continue using that. And we'll be writing our greatest common factors up here and on this side. So now our next step is we need to multiply the first and the last terms. So I'm going to multiply x squared times 5. And I'm going to get 5x squared. This is our product, 5x squared. And our sum is right here, 6x, the middle number, 6x. So now I need to think of the factors that I can use to solve for 5. Well, we know 1 times 5 is 5. We know and negative 1 times a negative 5 also equals a 5. And we need to find the factors that added together will equal 6. So we know it's this one. And so I'm going to put those numbers here and here. Now we need to know the greatest common factor that will go into 5 and 5. Well, that's 5. Then we also need to know what is the greatest common factor between, remember that's a divisible 1, 1 and 1, which is 1. So I'm going to put 1x because we have the x squared here. This way, we're looking for greatest common factors of 1 and 5. Well, that would also be 1x. And then here, we have, again, 1. We'll go into both of those. So we need to put our x's here because we're going to be adding these and they need to have an x next to them. So now we need to put this in parentheses. We have our x plus 5. That stays positive because this is positive. This stays positive because this is positive. And then we have x plus 1. So let's see if that works just by checking. We have x times x, which is x squared. We have x times 1, which is 1x. We have 5 times x, which is 5x. And then we have 1 times 5, which is 5. So that gives us x squared. We combine these plus 6x plus 5. So that worked. Let's try the next one. Okay, we put the first one here, the last one here, and bring that with it. If you have it, bring the sign with it. And now we multiply these two to get the product. So we're going to have p squared times negative 12, which will give us negative 12p squared. And then this is our sum, negative 1p. I'll go on and use the 1 so we won't get confused. So now I need to think of the factors that will go into 12. So what equals 12? We know 1 times 12 equals 12. 2 times 6 equals 12. And this is a negative 12. So we need to figure out negative 1 times 12 will equal negative 12. Negative 2 times 6 will equal negative 12. And a negative 3 times 4 will also equal negative 12. I'm going to go a step further here so you can see the signs. We also know 1 times a negative 12 equals negative 12. A 2 times a negative 6 and a 3 times a negative 4. Now we need to see which combination, which set of these numbers when added together will equal negative 1. This would give us 11. This would give us 4. This would give us a positive 1. This would give us a negative 11, a negative 4, and this would give us a negative 1. So that's why we're picking this one. So I'm going to put 3p here, and I'm going to put negative 4p here. Now I can put my greatest common factors outside here. What can go into negative 4 and negative 12? Well, negative 4 can. I'm going to put it up here, I'm sorry. And then what can go into 1 and 3? Well, just 1p. What can go into 1 and negative 4? Well, just a 1. And finally here, what can go into a 3 and a negative 12? A 3. Remember, if this number is positive, leave this number positive. If this number is negative, this number becomes negative. So let's write what we have. So we have p plus 3 times p minus 4. Let's see if we get this. P times p is p squared. P times negative 4 is negative 4p. And then 3 times p is plus 3p. And a positive 3 times a negative 4 gives us our negative 12. And we can see that equals this. So we got it correct. Number 8. I'm going to put the first one in here. I'm going to put the last one in here. I know the product is this times this. So x squared times negative 18 equals negative 18x squared. The sum is the middle number, which is 3x. Now I need to put my factors of 18. And I know that 1 times negative 18 would be negative 18. 2 times negative 9 would be negative 18. And 3 times negative 6 would also be negative 18. Switching them, negative 1 times 18, negative 2 times 9, and negative 3 times 6 would also give us negative 18. So now we need to see which one of these, when added together, will be a 3, a positive 3. So I have, that would not work, that would not work. Negative 6 plus 3 doesn't work. Nope, nope. 6 minus 3, there we go. So I know this number is going to be negative 3x, and this one up here will be 6x. Now we can do our factors, and we know that 6 can go into 6 and 18. And we know that 1 can go into 1 and 3. 1x. This way we know that the same thing, 1 can go into 1 and 1 can go into x. And down here we know that 3 can go into 3 and 18. Okay, this is positive, so that's positive. This is negative, so this is negative. Now we have our answer. X minus 3 times x plus 6 is the factor of this. And we can check it by multiplying x times x is x squared. X times 6 is plus 6x. Negative 3 times x is minus 3x, which equals this. And then negative 3 times 6 is our 18. Hopefully this is getting smoother. I'm adding more stuff than I did on my notes. So now we have the first one, okay? We have the last one, and then we need to multiply these two to have the product. So k squared times 2 equals 2k squared. The sum is the middle number, And now we need to do the factors of 2, which is going to be, and this is all positive, so we don't need any negatives. So we have a 1 times 2. That has to be it. 1 and a 2. So what can factor in here? Well, 2 can. What can factor here? 1k. What factors this way? 1k. And what about here? Looks like a 1. Positive and positive, therefore these are positive. So our answer is k plus 1 times k plus 2 will give us this. Let's see if that's correct. K times k is k squared. K times 2 is plus 2k. Down here we have plus 1k. And then we have 1 times 2, which is 2. Number 10. We have the first number and the last number. And when we multiply those, we're going to get 10x squared. The middle number is negative 7x. So we need to do factors of 10. And we do have a negative, so we're going to have to do it both ways. So we know 1 times 10 is 10. We know we know 2 times 5 is 10. And that's all we have. So now we need to do with the negative. I'm going to put the negative at the higher number. So let's say 1 times a negative 10. I'm sorry, that won't work because it has to equal this. So we're going to have a negative this is positive, but this is negative. And then we'll have a 2 times a negative 5. And those are our different combinations that will give us this negative 7. So when we add them together, that would be 11, that would be 10. This is going to be negative 9. And this would be, oh, I know. This needs to be a negative as well, because a negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. Okay? And then when you add them together, you're going to get your negative 7. So we can write those here and here. The factor would be 1. The factor here would be 2x. The factor here would be 5x. And the factor here again would be 1. We know that is a negative. We know this is a negative. So we now have 5x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. Let's see if this works. So we have 5x times 2x, which is 10x squared. Then we have 5x times a negative 1, which would give us a negative 5x. Down here we have negative 1 times 2x, which would give us a negative 2x, which would equal this. And then we have a negative times a negative, which is a positive. So we did it. I'm going to stop there for today. If you want to go on and do these, we can answer, I can check them for you. But I think we're doing enough of this stuff for today. That'll do it, guys. Thank you for watching.